But yeah, my beats, they are hard.
All right. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Happy Sunday to you. It's the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan Fulford in his home studio. A.D. Drew on the road, sounding like he's in a rainstorm. But Drew, how you doing? Where you at?
I am about an hour from joining you in my home studio. But Bryan, I noticed that somebody must have had a little bit of extra time on their hand in the classroom this week. We got
What do you mean?
brand new intro coming into the show.
Countdown, brand new countdown. Yeah, you try to jazz it up a little bit, man. Try to stay with the claim that we have one of the best intros in all of HBCU Sports podcasts. So.
All right, Bryan. Fess up, Bryan. Which one of your students did you buy extra milk for them to do that?
No telling. I'm just looking at something here. Having a little issues with the Facebook stream going out to the BCSN on Facebook. Not really sure. I don't know if it's a Facebook issue. I'm getting all kinds of little messages here. So what's funny, it's streaming to our BCSN Facebook feed, but for some reason, all right, so we'll see what happens here. I don't know. The show seems to be on our BCSN Facebook feed. Hello to everybody watching us on YouTube. Those of you who are also watching us on Instagram Live or Twitter, also known as X, we say hello to you and thank you for joining us here on the BCSN SportsWrap. Lots to talk about tonight. We've had a busy last 72 hours, Drew. Busy
Yes,
72 hours. Yes, we have. So we're going to get into talking about all the news from the past week. And what's ahead. Got some interesting conversation starters. Just some different things that we're seeing out in the X-verse, I guess is what might want to call it. I don't know if that's what they call it. Coming up at hour number 2, we're going to talk to America's favorite teacher, or at least we hope that's what she is. Morgan Hunter is going to finally be joining us. AD finally worked that out. So by the time AD gets to the home studio, I think we will have him and we'll have Morgan on the show.
Yeah. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. And Bryan, I'm looking at my calendar and I'm just curious. Is this the last show that we'll do before both of us be in our 50s? Or am I a week early?
You are a week early. You are a week and a day early.
Okay.
A week and a day early. I got one more show in my 40s, Drew. One more show in my 40s. Now, although that, we may have to talk about that because, we do start celebrating on Cinco de Mayo. Just got to say that, Drew.
And that is a Saturday this year.
No, actually, it's Sunday. It's
Sunday.
It's Sunday.
Sunday this year. Yes.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
May the 4th is Saturday. Cinco de Mayo is Sunday.
Right. My favorite Star Wars day. May the 4th be with you for all of my Star Wars nerds and fans out there. Oh, I have completely gone nuts. NBA playoffs are happening today. I'm watching an epic comeback by the Dallas Mavericks, who at one point in the first half, Drew, were down at least 25. And I mean, look, it's the NBA, right? It's hard to keep a 20 point lead in the first half. So you should have known that Dallas was going to make a run, and that they did. And they have, on a Kyrie Irving basket, a tough basket, by the way, just took the lead for probably the first time since very early in the ball game, very early in the first quarter. So that's what's happening. I have the Clippers plus 5.5. So really, I'm really not. Yeah, 31. Good God, it was 31. Yeah, 31. And what, for those of you who have been watching this game, have you been impressed by the Dallas home crowd, even when they were down 31, as A&T Roy pointed out? Uh, the crowd in Dallas has been on their feet, rocking. I mean, that you would have never known that they were down 31, down 20. I mean, because the crowd has been, I mean, what a great crowd in Dallas. What a great crowd. I mean, and you combine that with any of you, if you watch the Knicks and Sixers game, but I'm telling you, Drew, this is the best time to watch the NBA, is it not? I don't know. Drew's on mute, so I don't know. Drew's traveling, so I don't know where he is right now. But you guys tell me in the chat room. You guys let me know. This is a great time to watch the NBA. I pay attention loosely to the NBA during the season. I can't say I'm probably more invested in college basketball, especially during the football season. I'm more invested in football, but the NBA come April, May is a great time to just buy in. So good stuff. We will great question. One of the biggest questions that's going to be on the table. We're going to talk about that here shortly. Great question, Deck. The difference between being invited to mini camp and signing a free agent deal.
Brian, did you say your statement? Say that thing about what we were discussing on Dr. Cavill's show about WNBA versus NFL and the number of draft picks? Do I need to refresh your memory on that?
You really want to do that? You want to start the show that way? That's what we're starting the show with, Drew?
I mean, you're talking about NFL stuff, so.
No, I wasn't talking about NFL stuff,
Okay,
but
we'll leave it to the NFL segment.
No. We can start there. I mean, look, I mean, that's the freshest story. So we can start there, Drew. I was just simply pointing out a question by my good friend Dexter Martin, asking about the difference between being invited to mini camp and signing a free agent. But the lead story now, me, I wanted to start with the Tamika Reed story, but Drew, because he wants to gloat, I'm gonna let Drew start with the HBCU, or I should say the lack of HBCU players being drafted, Drew. And refresh people. What was I set the line, and what did you say? I said how many HBCU players will be drafted. Drew, what did you say?
I said I answered your question with a question, which you're never supposed to do. And my statement was, will the NFL with 256 picks draft more HBCU players than the WNBA did with 36 picks? And this is going back to Thursday's Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Both myself and Kelvin Carter said no, the NFL would not draft more. You were leaning more to push to 2. And, well, Brian, you're going to learn to listen to your boy every now and then.
Yeah. For once again, a sad state of affairs. We should have known. We should have seen it coming that that there were zero. This was about as bad as the COVID year, where I think in the COVID year there were no players drafted, and this year I think they went in the 2 seasons after COVID, because this is year 3 after COVID, I believe. So in the 2 seasons after COVID, there were a couple of guys drafted, one guy, maybe 2. This year, back to 0. Yeah, that's basically it. And so Drew's was right that the WNBA, there was one player drafted in the last pick, 36th pick overall, Angel Jackson. We'll talk about her in just a second, but yeah. And this is a great question, Roy. Why were there no guys drafted? I saw a very interesting tweet by Gerald Huggins, who I love what he does, is scouting. He also Gerald also, I believe it's draft HBCU players.com is the site where he does a lot of his scouting for. And he actually said that this year was a better year than last year's. I want to go and read his tweet exactly, because I don't want to misquote him here. I was a little surprised when he said it. So let me go back and find his tweet here. See if I can find it here. I'm scrolling. If it comes up instantly, I don't know. This is great radio, great TV, podcasting. Anyway, if I can find it, I'll see if I can find it. But anyway, basically to sum up, he had basically said that he thought this year's draft was better than last year. And I was kind of like, yeah, I don't really know about this year being better. I mean, who would you say was the dominant HBCU player this year? Who? I'll wait.
Davius Richard.
Davius Richard. Who had a less than stellar performance in a game where his team got beat by 3-4 touchdowns. Got injured in the final game of the year, then got hurt in the HBCU Legacy Bowl. We understand all the stats. All the stats and the metrics are there for Richard. If Richard had left after beating Jackson State after his junior year, he might have got drafted. Well, he probably would have had better. His stock was higher, I think, than it was going into this year. But okay, outside of Richard, who else? Running back? Might say the running back from
running backs. Running
Texas
backs.
Southern.
You might as well leave running backs out.
That's my point. There was no defensive player. Was there a real dominant defensive player this year? I don't think so. I don't think there was a real dominant defensive player, not like the 2 previous years where you had guys from Jackson State, guys from A&M, Florida A&M.
Yeah. And then go back to 2 years ago.
Defensive backs. Yeah, you had a few defensive backs that were really stellar. Yeah. So all that played out. Here's some interesting numbers, right? Okay. Going and looking at some various tweets that came out here. Stan Becton points out that the 2024 NFL draft breakdown in total, you had, and it was a real low year this year, even for FCS players. In total, there were 19 Group of 5 players picked. Of course, Group of 5, that's outside of your Power 5, outside of your SEC, ACC, Big Ten, Pac, whatever they are at that time, I guess 12, and the Big 12, right? So outside of that, you had 19 Group of 5 players. Then you had 11 FCS players. You had 3 players from the CFL, Drew, I didn't even know this was possible, but apparently guys who were in the CFL last year were drafted this year. Say you had 3 international players, or at least 1 or 2. I think there was somebody from another country. You had 1 Division II player no HBCU players across, the two Division I or Division II, right? Now you compare that to 2023, where there were 36 Group of 5 players, still a low number of FCS players overall, but you did have an HBCU pick. You did have two Division II players. Yeah, apparently there was a guy from England, from UK that was drafted. Appreciate that, Dave. So that's the big difference in 1 year. Now, why was that? I know Drew had asked about what were the superlatives of those 11. Now, see, there's another tweet there right next to the one from Stan that says there were 12 FCS players drafted, and their conference's affiliation. You had the Missouri Valley with 4 guys. Ivy League had a couple guys. The Southland had 2. The CAA had 1. The Big South OVC had 1. Patriot League had 1. United Athletic. I have no idea what United Athletic is, but anyway.
And so I could put this in. So to the guy on Twitter, and I can't remember the guy's name, who mentioned something about the reason that HBCU players are not getting drafted because we don't go to the FCS playoffs. Well, hell, 2 Ivy League players got drafted, and they don't go to the FCS playoffs, so that's a moot point.
Yeah, exactly. Great point. I'm glad you said that because, yeah, the Ivy League guys getting drafted, those guys don't play in the playoffs either. So
they got drafted to bring up the team's GPA.
Yeah, I think somebody was reaching when they, trying to draw a false narrative. And I think I saw BJ kind of shoot that theory down. So I appreciate BJ Jones for shoot inside HBCU football for shooting that thought down. Now, so we've talked about this before, Drew, that the route for guys really seems to be the undrafted free agent market. Because I for whatever reason, you're not wanting to draft any HBCU guys in the 6th or 7th round, right? So the undrafted free agent route ends up being the route that most HBCU players end up going. Sam Herder of, I believe he was of Hero FCS, he said that FCS conference is currently, now this was as of about 1 o'clock Eastern, currently has the most players to earn 2024 rookie contracts. That's a combination of draft picks and UDFA deals. You had the Missouri Valley with 22 players. The CAA had 12. The MEAC and SWAC each had 4, with the Ivy 3, Big South OVC 2. So those are sort of the numbers when you look at the undrafted free agent market.
I mean, the path forward for the HBCU guys is probably going to be in the UFL.
Interesting you bring up the UFL. Now here's the thing: the UFL draft, though. When did that happen? Did that happen? That had to happen.
It happened right around the Super Bowl. I can't remember if it was right before or slightly afterwards. I think it was slightly after the Super Bowl.
Right. But the thing about that, most guys are doing what? They're not going to. Everybody's hedging their bets, so to speak, with what? The NFL.
Right. And then now these guys can wind up in Canada this year, but as far as the league, it's going to be a year if they don't get a UDFA contract.
Right. Okay, and so that comes back to the main question that Dexter had kind of asked about the difference between being invited to a mini camp and signing a free agent deal, because in some of these graphics that I'm going to show, there are guys who were signed, there are guys who were invited. So I'm just going to read a little blurb here from the Miami Herald. The biggest difference between an undrafted free agent and a player with a mini camp invite is that undrafted free agents will have signed contracts with the respective team. A mini camp invite is a tryout with no signed contract between the player and team heading into camp.
Which is, ironically, Brian, is kind of irrelevant because if you don't make the 53-man roster or I don't know if they've expanded it from 10. I think they've expanded the practice squad from 10 to a couple of more.
They did expand the practice squad, yeah.
You still don't get paid a full salary. Yeah, you get a stipend during mini camp and during the actual camp, but you don't get paid. Heck, even the players, even Patrick Mahomes doesn't get paid during preseason and camp. He doesn't get paid until week 1 of the NFL season.
So wait a minute. But wait a minute. There are guys who are being signed. They're getting something for going to these camps.
Right. They may get a little bonus. They may have a signing bonus. They'll get a stipend for going to camp. But as far as an actual league paycheck, you do not get that league paycheck until September, until after week 1 in September.
Okay. So I hope that clarified some things. Yeah, and so great point here. Not all players get bonuses or guaranteed money. So the guys who you're seeing getting invites are hoping to impress enough. I heard somebody, and I remember that when this came up a couple years ago with Marquise Bell, who was signed to a contract from Dallas. Dallas could have drafted Marquise, but they chose to bring him in. And then when you look at the money that certain guys will get when it starts coming out, one of my favorite sites to look at is SpotRack. I think it's SPOTRAC. That'll show a lot of contracts. When you start to see guys in their contracts, essentially, you almost could have signed that guy in the 6th or 7th round, but for whatever reason you chose not to. It is, I don't know. That's the mystery. But anyway, so if you have a guy who's signed at this stage, I think that's a good sign that the team really wants him, and probably would have drafted him. Great article I think I read by Kyle Mosley after speaking to Kyle is connected in with the Legacy HBCU Legacy Bowl, Doug Williams and those guys, and that's a whole topic and a discussion as to why guys aren't getting drafted. But if to sort of paraphrase a little bit from that story, Doug Williams had kind of made a comment that nobody is in those draft rooms standing on the table for HBCU players. And that might even go as far as saying nobody's standing on the table for FCS guys either.
But doesn't Doug work for the Washington Redskins? Don't answer that, Brian. I mean, the Washington Commanders? Don't answer that. Don't answer.
Look, it's a great question. I mean, I think it's a question over the next month or two that I think the people who are the advocates for HBCU players, guys like Steve Weiss, guys like Shaq Harris, Doug Williams, Troy Vincent, I think, the people in the NFL offices, it really is that I think I saw a stat that there are 8 Black GMs, 6 Black head coaches. I don't know what scouting departments look like, but I think it's time to, I think someone in those spaces and places who has the kind of gravitas to be able to talk to those scouts and GMs and coaches and really say, what is it that's preventing you guys from drafting HBCU players? Is it the competition? Because that's the easy talk. It's easy to say it's the competition. What is it? Is it the exposure? You didn't see him? It can't be the measurables, Drew, because I think some of the measurables that are coming out of the combines are comparable. Roy says it's talent. Maybe so. So this would be a year where the talent wasn't as good, huh? I mean, 275 spots. Let's take a look at some of the names that that I've been able to track down, and these are some of the names who have signed and been a part of the undrafted free agent. You can see already a pair of Grambling players now. Sundiata Anderson, you can see signed a undrafted free agent contract there with Seattle. Cedric Anderson was invited to the Eagles rookie minicamp. So congratulations to both of those guys. Next up, a pair of South Carolina State Bulldogs, Jablonski Green and Patrick Godbolt. Both were invited. Green to the Colts, my Colts, and Godbolt to the Jets. One thing I will say, what's interesting about Green being invited by the Colts is Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts, drafted Shaq Leonard back in maybe about 5 seasons ago out of South Carolina State. So he's very familiar with the program. Actually, one of the key guys up front is an Alabama State guy. So I think there are certain programs, certain organizations who are familiar with the talent level at HBCUs, and so when I see somebody like Green, Isaiah Land is at the Colts. Traded, actually became Dallas decided not to keep him after minicamp. The Colts swooped in, made him a part of the 53-man roster. So there's an organization that recognizes talent at the HBCU level. Another minicamp invite, Aiden Hempfield from Texas Southern going to my Colts. There you can also see Michael Chris Ike, who got a minicamp invite to the Jets. He was Delaware State running back. Congratulations to those guys. A pair of Aggies, Tamon Cook got an invite with the Jets, and Tariq Stewart on the O-line, he got an invite. I saw that he signed with the Patriots. So congratulations to those two guys. A pair of Howard Bison signed contracts. Aneem Dockway, the offensive lineman for Howard, he got signed by the Eagles. And Ian Wheeler, running back, signed with the Bears. Florida A&M had 4 players. And you can see Marcus Riley signed his contract, undrafted free agent contract. He's going with the Jets. Notice some of these teams. How many Jets have you seen? How many Eagles have you seen? He signed with the Jets. Jeremy Musa, the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, got a minicamp invite to the Bucks. How about Isaiah Major, Defensive Player of the Year, got an invite to the Saints. And I think highly of Terrell Jennings, a running back for FAMU, got an invite with the Patriots. A pair of Division II players got picked up. The Bears, R.J. Murphy from Winston-Salem State. And how about the Steelers inviting Benedict quarterback Aeneas Dennis to join them? And I think I caught everybody there. I may have missed somebody. So if there's anybody on the list there that I missed, you guys please let me know. I tried to go through and catch as many as I could and kind of throw up the graphics there. But there we go. I want to come back after the break before we get into talking about the Tamika Reed story. I see a great comment here by our coach Farasi in the chat. Bring it up here in a second, and we'll kind of toss that question around. You guys keep the discussions going in the chats while we step away for a quick break. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford in my home studio. A.D. Drew somewhere in South Georgia, heading close to home. Should be home probably in about hour number 2. He should be home. Want to encourage everybody, hit the thumbs up button if you're watching us on YouTube. Facebook is kind of hit and miss. Our normal Facebook feed on the BCSN Facebook page, it doesn't seem to be working. But if you may be following us on our BCSN SportsWrap Facebook feed, it is working. So go figure. Hello to everybody on Twitter. Hello to everybody on X. You might be watching us. We appreciate you guys for jumping in there. Do me a favor and share the show, share the stream wherever you're at. We greatly appreciate it. Okay, great comment here by Drew. Let me make sure you're there. I know you're on mute right now. Make sure you are. Okay, yes. Drew is there. Yeah, okay, I'm going to read a comment here by Coach Ferrasi. Coach Ferrasi says HBCUs need a coach like Eddie Robinson from Grambling State who would get the attention of NFL scouts to let them know HBCU guys can play at their level. I'm not going to give you the room to say this, Drew, but didn't we have that a couple years ago?
Yes, we did. We had a coach that did that, but it's ironic that he has left the HBCU space, and he had just as many players drafted this year as the HBCUs had drafted this year.
What do you work? You work for Yahoo Sports on the side too, Drew. Is that what you're doing? You work for Yahoo Sports? I saw Yahoo tweet that out, and I said I kind of said y'all petty sports.
But
that was unnecessary.
But the thing is, say what you want to, though, Brian. I'm serious when I was joking when I said that, but on a serious level, the attention that he drew to the HBCU product and the HBCU brand, you cannot take that away from him or any of those players that he helped. So will there be another mouthpiece like a Deion Sanders was, like Eddie Robinson was? You know, Eddie Robinson proved it, had multiple players. Not only did they get drafted, but Eddie Robinson had players that went to the league that made impact that became Hall of Famers. Obviously, the jury is still out on the players from the Deion Sanders era. And I'm talking about both at Jackson State and other players who were drafted during those 3 years that Sanders was at Jackson State. So the jury is still out on them. But, you know, where have they been? Where is the statistical freak like a Jerry Rice or a Steve McNair?
But was it?
Where are those athletes? We got some damn good athletes in HBCU football, but they're not getting those freakish numbers, and that's probably due to the level of competition right now because there are more athletes of that caliber playing, whereas when Jerry Rice was playing or Steve McNair were playing, they were the unicorn. They were the freak. Well, hey, every HBCU team, every successful HBCU team has a unicorn or freak right now, it looks like. I think that may be the difference so that they don't stick out like those players did back in the day. Just another hypothesis.
Marvin Allen says top 5 power players didn't get drafted. He says top Power 5 players. I would like to know, Marvin, name a now. I'm going to quantify this. When you say a top Power 5 player, so I'm going to say somebody who's rated in the top 20. Give me a guy in the top 20 of his position that didn't get drafted. Because I find it hard to believe that a top guy, the top 10 in every position probably got drafted. The top 15 in every position got drafted. I might be stretching it when I say top 20. What about the talent question? The talent question is interesting because, again, I don't know how to compare Jerry Rice at Mississippi Valley State to who was another top receiver in the country back in 1984. Can anybody think of a name? Who can you compare Jerry Rice to? Right? And there was something that got Jerry Rice drafted. Was it the numbers?
It helped justify it.
It did, okay, but I don't, I don't know.
Nehemiah also got drafted during that time too.
Yeah.
Y'all Google that name if y'all don't know who I'm talking about.
I remember that name. Yeah. Track and field. It's an interesting debate. It's an interesting question that.
Speaking of track and field, Carl Lewis got drafted during that time too, but that's a different story.
Didn't they have 12 rounds back then, though?
I believe so. I don't think they dropped down until the 90s, the CBA in the 90s, maybe like 92, 93, somewhere up in there, when they ultimately settled on 7 rounds.
Yeah.
It was after all them strikes and everything what they did with the 7.
Yeah. Well, look, I know it's going to be one of those things that now with the advent of player movement, it's going to be one more knock against the guys who excel at the HBCU level. Well, let me rephrase and say this right. When players excel at the HBCU level, they're instantly going to be looking to upgrade. So what you're going to have, Drew, is you're going to have guys at a school have a great season, all SWAC, all MEAC, put up good numbers, maybe even get an All-American mention, have eligibility. Well, what's he going to want to do? He's going to want to move up to the next level because that may be his shot. Now, a guy who may have spent 2 or 3 seasons at that Power 5 level, he may look to try to get more playing time by going down to the FCS level. And that's just going to be that's just the nature of what it's going to be, I think, for the next year or two, until there's a little more balance. So don't hold it against these guys when you see them jump in the portal and they're looking for something better. I know it speaks volumes that, I know as, there's schools that had 2, 3, maybe 4. FAMU had 4 guys who were in the NFL, programs like South Carolina State, Florida A&M, others who had players in the NFL. It's going to be guys reaching to get to the next level, and at some point, that's why Drew. Here's a thought, and here I want to move on to Tamika Reed story, but I have a final thought here. I was thinking about this. We know there's a spring football league, right? Anybody been watching the UFL lately? Anybody? I was watching it last night because I think the NBA games were a blowout, and the Nuggets were pissing me off last night. But anybody watching the UFL? Anybody? I got to thinking, is having a spring league the best time for a 22, 23-year-old athlete? Is that the best time to play? And what if, Drew, follow me here. I know football is king in the fall. And I know Thursday through Monday, we're consumed with college and pro football. But Drew, I actually think that there is room for a league to play on a Tuesday and Wednesday at the same time. Yes, I know it's hard to think. How can you play at the same time as college and the NFL? But I think there's room for it, and I'll tell you why I think there's room for it. Because A, our appetite for football is heavy, A. And B, what does playing in the fall of maybe a 10-week league really do for you? Let's just say you're playing in a league that only goes September, October, and ends before Thanksgiving, right? Guess what you're eligible to do come December, as injuries have plagued NFL teams, as teams are gearing up for the playoffs? Guess what you're able to possibly do? Get signed to the NFL.
Can I punch 2 holes in that, Bryan?
Sure, please. I'm just throwing it out there because as I was walking this morning, it was something that I was thinking about.
Hey, there's already a league that plays simultaneous with the NFL.
Who?
And it's called the Canadian Football League.
Okay.
Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, I don't think there is enough time or disposable income to compete at that same time, Bryan.
Maybe not in the same cities, but Drew, there's plenty of cities.
First of all, everybody has a pro football team in during the fall.
San Diego doesn't have a pro football team, Drew.
It's called a college team.
Oh, come on, stop it.
But Bryan, fans are more rabid for their collegiate team and will spend more of their disposable income on their favorite collegiate team than they will a pro team. Then when you add in the fact that Junior is playing football, hopefully on Friday nights, but he may not have made it to Friday nights yet. So you've got all those other games. Bryan, I live in the South. I've seen stadiums packed on Tuesday night for a seventh grade game, Brian. You think you're gonna be able to get somebody to come to a minor league professional game on a Tuesday night compared to going watching a seventh grade game where I know everybody's child out there? No. No.
I don't know. That one's a little thin in my opinion, Drew. I think there's
income during that time. I'm saving my money for the Saturday tailgate. If I have a protein, I may follow my protein, but the rest of that, I'm doing enough of my disposable income for local football.
But again, Drew, I think you are discounting.
I'm not going to watch former college athletes.
You're not. But I think there's a lot of Americans who would eat up. It's the reason why they have college football games late in November playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Maxion.
That's because everybody else has stopped playing.
Huh?
That's because everybody else has stopped playing.
But there's a window. There's an opportunity. There's okay. I mean, you guys, you know. I thought it was a reach, but the more and more I think about it, Drew, I know why they're playing a spring league. I do get it, but
hey, Brian, if that's the case, we need to move the WNBA to the wintertime also.
No, there's too many things going on in the. No. The WNBA needs to be when it is in the summer.
So it's too many things going on already in the wintertime.
I gave you 2 days, Drew. The 2 days when there is the least amount of activity of football on television. That's Tuesday and Wednesday. I didn't say play it on a Friday. I didn't say play it on Saturday. We understand what those days are. Thursday to Monday are reserved for college and pro football. You don't mess with those 2 days. That leaves 2 days out of a 7-day week that are open.
All right, Ryan, here's hole number 3. Where are you going to play these games at? And
Drew,
what I mean by that is, are stadiums available to play these games at during their time? Because if they're natural surfaces, grass has to have time to recover.
I mean, how many fields are playing on field turf, Drew?
More and more, unfortunately. But I just think about facilities at the same time may not be readily available during those times. That's another bite. Let's move to Tamika Reed because we're beating this horse to death.
Okay. You didn't like my idea. That's all.
I really didn't.
You didn't. That's okay. That's all right. Good to know that you're rolling with the Pacers, Marvin. All right. Yeah. That game starts at 7. Apparently, there is no Dame Lillard tonight. Still no Antetokounmpo. So I'm fully expecting the Pacers to win this one. I just don't know if I'm willing to lay 10. I got to look at the numbers on that game and kind of see what it's looking like, to be honest with you. Right now it's a 10-point line, the over-under at 215. So yeah, anybody got any ideas for me? I'm on a heater. I'm recovering from a bad period. I doubled down too hard on the Lakers losing the other night. So I'm trying to make up. I need good plays. So if you guys got any good suggestions, player props, let me know. Okay. The other big HBCU related story. Tamika Reed, formerly the head coach at Jackson State University, is now moving on to Charlotte. She's taking her talents to the East Coast, to Charlotte, North Carolina, basketball country, some might say. And she is about to be the new head coach at Charlotte. I'll tell you, look, I had asked the question, and, I was asking it just to ask it. People got in their feelings when I asked it. But I kept wondering, I said, she hadn't signed a new contract. What are we waiting on? What is what's the wait? Why not? And it looks like supposedly there was a deal for 4 years, 250 per at Jackson State. That was maybe on the table, maybe it wasn't. But a great question that I've been wondering over the past couple of days, and I've heard this talked about on other shows and other places. Could Jackson State afford to have Jackson State's Tamika Reed, who obviously the most successful, I guess she's the most successful coach currently at Jackson State. I think that's fair. Could Jackson State afford, could you live with the optics of your women's basketball coach being the highest paid coach, or at worst case, number 2 among all your programs? So in short, basically, the question is, could they afford Tamika Reed at the going rate? And I kept saying when her name came up for the Tennessee job, I kept saying the value of Tamika Reed is close to 3 a year. If you look at what other coaches from mid-majors were getting and had less of a successful record. And again, if you don't know the record, 6 seasons at Jackson State, 125-54, a 95-10 conference record. She's had 3 consecutive 20-plus win seasons. That's the 4th highest conference win percentage over the last 5 years, a 95.4% win percentage. She was 53-1 in the SWAC the last 3 years, Drew. 53-1. That's called being dominant. That's not just being good. That's being dominant. Building the most dominant program in maybe 20, 25 years in SWAC women's basketball. Israel
What she have
asked,
left to accomplish at Jackson State?
I am assuming you couldn't afford her, Israel. Yes, I am assuming that. And I'll explain why in a second, because I went and looked at some of the budgetary numbers, and I'll explain to you why I don't think you could afford her. What was your question, Drew?
What did she really have left to accomplish at Jackson State? Outside of getting the NCAA tournament win.
Other than that, well, that's it. That was the last thing. But, I mean, come on. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, you got Jackson State to a 14 seed. What more?
Twice.
There was
twice,
right? Twice. I don't think there was anything else she could have done. I just find it real curious as to the delay in signing. Now, the story will come out eventually, as all stories do. It'll eventually come out. Obviously, right now,
you don't think that it was maybe her doing her due diligence before she signed?
Look, she was taking.
I know other things out there. I know I have this as a fallback, but it's just like that kid who decides whether he's going to declare for the draft or stay in school another year. I know I can come back, but I got to see how hot I am. And if I'm going in the first round, I'm declaring for the draft. Well, Tamika Reed did the equivalent of that with his coaching search. If I know I can get the right offer at the right amount, I love Jackson State. Jackson, Mississippi is my home, but I got to go.
And the contract that now look, I went and looked, and I think anybody can do this, and you can pull up and do a search on what the previous coach at Charlotte was making, and she was one of the top 3 earners among Charlotte athletics, probably right behind the football coach and the men's basketball coach. She was making about 269, I think, just under 270. And she had been there for well over a decade, 15, 16 years. Average win-loss record. But guess what? She ended up taking a job moving to Marquette, which Charlotte is in the American Conference. Marquette is in the Big East Conference. I don't know if that's for women's basketball. I don't know if moving from the American to the Big East is necessarily an upgrade, but it's the in terms of the conference, the Big East is a Power 6 conference level. So maybe it's a slight upgrade, moving from Charlotte. But I'll tell you, the biggest thing is the resources. And you saw what I just put out there. Marvin Allen was dead on point. Charlotte has more to offer than just money. I went and did a search at just what does Charlotte have, Drew, right? I mean, besides this beautiful arena, right? This beautiful arena that Coach Reed is going to be, her teams are going to be playing in, right? What Charlotte has to work with, and I went to the Charlotte Athletic website, Drew, and I went to the directory. And Drew, it took me, my finger got sore scrolling before I even got to the first coach or first athletic program, which is usually baseball, right? Charlotte only has 14 programs by the count that I saw. They have 14 programs, 7 men, 7 women.
Which I believe is the bare minimum for Division I status.
Exactly. Hey, Florida A&M has 14 sports. But listen to this. University of North Carolina at Charlotte has an athletic budget of $35.6 million among those 14 programs. The women's basketball program, Drew, has a $2.3 million budget. Okay. Wait, there's more. Besides 3 assistant coaches, which the rumors and reports are that she's going to take the 3 assistant coaches that she had at Jackson State. And that's all you see. When you go and look at Jackson State, all you see is the 3 assistant coaches. But at Charlotte, there is also a director of scouting and recruiting, a director of basketball ops, an assistant sports performance for Olympic sports, and a coordinator for women's basketball creative media, as well as an associate head athletic trainer for women's basketball. That is outside of the 3 assistants, Drew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional positions at her. I mean, they're on the website right now. You can go to the Charlotte website, look at the same info I looked at. They're on the website. So outside of the 3 assistants, she's going to a program which administratively has a $35 million budget compared to Jackson State's 10. Okay. A $2.3 million athletic team budget compared to Jackson State, which had about the numbers that I saw said the budget for women's basketball was $775,000, so less than $1 million. So 3 to 4 times more in terms of resources is what she's moving to. The number of players on scholarship, there were 20 open spots at Charlotte. She had 16 open available spots at Jackson State. So that gives you more room for what? Walk-ons.
Right, because the max is 15 scholarships in women's basketball.
Right. So you can have additional walk-ons. So when I looked at all of that, I was like, oh. Now the one thing I will say, look, G Boom, better fan support. I don't know about that. Here's what I'll say. When I did go and look at the numbers, right? Jackson State had among the SWAC the 5th best attendance numbers in the SWAC, right? Average attendance at games, let me see. Average attendance at Jackson State games was 1,183 per home games. Okay. that was the only thing that was a little bit better than what Charlotte's average was. Now, again, you go back to look at this arena. That arena can hold more than, I think the most I saw for any Charlotte game was about 1,000. Usually it was in between 800 to 1,000 people.
Do they? I'm assuming that they do not play doubleheaders in what conference
American?
is that? The American Conference. I'm assuming men and women were on independent schedules.
You know, I didn't look into that, but that's a good question. I don't know yes or no for that. I can't tell you. But it does open the opportunity. Look, there's an opportunity there to do at Charlotte what Dawn Staley did at Temple, right? Charlotte is a basketball hub. And if Reed can come in with her infectious attitude and spirit and knowing the kind of coach that she is, Charlotte can turn into the kind of program that is challenging. I mean, this past season, Charlotte finished 16-15 overall, 9-9 in conference, which was like, there were like 5 teams that finished 9-9 in the American. So if you have a good season, guess what, Drew? You won't be a 14 seed when you go to the tournament because the American is probably about a 2 or 3 bid league. So you might be an 8 or a 9. So if the salaries are a little bit better, by not a lot, but a little bit, but your assistant coaches are going to get paid more. Your staff is more. I understand why she left. And congratulations to her. Any thoughts there?
I was gonna say congratulations to one of her assistant coaches, Chase Campbell, who I know. So congratulations to Chase for making the upgrade also. Well, that's her top assistant. So I know him personally. So congratulations to him.
Well, you reach out to him and see if we can get Coach Reed on the show. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. I know people thought and swore. They were like, oh, you want her to leave. And it's like, nah, it wasn't about wanting her to leave because, you know, I think what she has done for SWAC basketball and women's basketball at Jackson State has been great. She's left the program better than when she inherited it or took it over. She's had 2 players drafted. Apparently, one of those players, and I think I saw this, and I think I've got the infographic here. Yeah, one of those players, the most recent pick, Angel Jackson, apparently has just signed she's made the cut, or at least made the 15-woman roster, where according to HBCU Premier Sports and more, she signed a 4-year, $276,000 contract, with the 4th year being a team option. Not bad for a 6'6", who was once a McDonald's All-American coming out of California. Let's not forget that. And there are not too many 6'6" players in the WNBA, Drew. I don't know if you checked. And
yeah,
I think
I'm not sure, but I know they're like 7-footers.
Yes. There was I think there was 3 or 4 of them. So she's going into a winning culture, a winning program. Congratulations to Angel Jackson. Congratulations to Tamika Reed again. And so I think it'll be interesting to just kind of watch the story. And I think what I saw a lot of Jackson State people were really happy for her. We're thankful and appreciative, as you should be. It's the same feeling we had when we found out Willie Simmons was leaving Florida A&M. You hated to see it, but if going to the next level and moving on, when you've done so much and there's really nothing else to do but do it again. I mean, that's great for us as fans. That's great for, the program, but you want what's best for that person. And
we just have to realize there are not going to be too many more lifers for any of our programs.
Well,
Just like you don't find too many, you're not going to find a whole lot of players hanging around for 4 years. You're not going to find a whole lot of lifers in the coaching game right now.
But see, here's the thing though. Like, when you say a lifer, is being on a program 10 seasons, does that qualify you as a new lifer? Because I think there's a couple of, I can think of 2 men's basketball coaches in the MEAC who have been there at least 10 years.
But they are going the way of the cassette tape of the CD player.
Are they?
You can still find one. You can still find one on the shelf. But find a player. Find a cassette player now. You can find a tape, but you can't find a player. Or if you find a player, you can't find the tape. They're going to be like payphones in a minute. How many times have y'all been down and you actually see a payphone still, and you're like, dang, I need to take a picture of that, because you don't see that anymore. That's what those coaches are going to be like now.
Emmett says, I'm glad that Eddie Robinson's, John Merritt's, Jay Gaither stayed as long as they did. Emmett, you realize...
Did they stay by choice then? Or
I was just about to say that. I was just about to, Emmett, could they have gone anywhere else? So when we talk about lifers and we talk about the legends, Robinson, Merritt, Gaither, guys like that, let's appreciate that, but also let's put it into proper context. Because men who look like them couldn't or weren't being asked to be the head coach at predominantly white institutions. So I guess we have to I think it just brings up the opportunity to say, when you look at all that Charlotte has in terms of the number of sports and the disparity in dollars, a $25 million difference between Charlotte and Jackson State. Hell, a $25, $26, $27 million between FAMU and Charlotte in terms of same number of programs. The bigger question that we all should be asking, what are and what can our university leaders do to close that gap? That's the bigger discussion. It's not the
states need to give us the funding that they shorted us for so long. That would be a good starting point.
That would be nice. It would be nice for the states to do, but operate off the fact that they might not.
You said Mike, Brian? Did you say Mike?
I said might because I'm an optimist, Drew. So I'm gonna side on possibility.
I'm a member of the Optimist Club, and I'm not optimistic about that happening anytime soon.
I don't know about that, Drew. Sometimes you be on the pessimistic side of things.
Just like I was pessimistic about the WNBA draft versus the NFL draft.
Yeah, you hit that one out the park. Yeah. How far away are you from being home? Because I want to get ready to take that break so that we can bring in Morgan. Morgan is in the studio in the background.
I'm about 5 from the house.
So how do you want to do this? Do you want to you okay to take a break and then we come
and we'll bring her on, and as soon as I get in the studio, I'll jump in the conversation. But we can go ahead and get started to respect her time.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So coming up after the break, we're going to talk to America's favorite teacher, or at least we hope that's what the title becomes. We're going to talk to Morgan Hunter. You guys have been voting for her over the last few weeks. It's definitely appreciative. So we're gonna finally get her in the show, and we're gonna find all the dirt on Drew that we can. We're gonna get all the dirt from her and find out how great or how poor a coach AD really was. No, just kidding.
Yeah. This your chance to try to get some revenge, but it ain't gonna happen, Brian.
No revenge. What revenge? No revenge.
Yeah, you gonna try, but we gonna say no. We gonna say no to Sugar Blue Devil strong on this conversation.
I got you. All right. So coming up, hang in there. We're coming up with our interview with Morgan Hunter right on the other side. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics, there's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
T. Madden and Associates is a sophisticated and experienced law firm located in your neighborhood. We're turning injury to cash.
T. Madden and Associates obtained almost $2 million for my injury. They turned my injury to cash.
Now, we can't guarantee how much your injury is worth, but we've recovered millions for our clients.
Call T. Madden and Associates at 833-PAID-123. That's 833-PAID-123.
Stride K-12 powered schools are ready to put over 20 years of being a leader in online education to work for you. Dive into curriculum design for the online classroom. Team up with state-certified teachers trained in virtual instruction. Take control of your child's education journey. Discover the power of personalized learning with a leader experienced in preparing kids for a future they can be excited about. Take charge. Stride K-12. Enroll now for the fall.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. here, and let me get ready to go ahead and introduce our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing America's favorite teacher, none other than, there she is, Morgan Hunter, Morgan, hello. Welcome to the Sports Wrap. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. Thank you all so much for having me.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining us. I know AD will be here. I know he is here. He's coming
Yes,
in
I
here in just
am. How you doing, Morgan?
I'm doing good, Coach Drew. How are you?
I am doing fine. See the respect level, Brian? Always give me Coach Drew.
Oh, I would expect nothing else. I mean, that's what your players. That's what your players they do.
Yes.
I just put in the chat for everybody the link to vote. Oh man, did I mess that up? I think I put it in there. You guys let me know if you're able to actually to log in to that link. I may not have put enough space.
Might need to do a short link again.
No. The problem was I put vote for Morgan. I don't think I left a space in there. So here, I'll send it out again. Just itself. The link itself is right there. There it is on all of the platforms. So Morgan, what has this experience been before we get into talking about the background, your relationship with Coach Drew? What has this experience been like? Maybe just let me rewind. How did you get entered into this contest, and maybe give us a little bit about your teaching background and what this experience has been like for you?
Awesome. So this is my first year teaching. I'm from Notasulga, Alabama, but I relocated to Newark, New Jersey through Teach for America, which is how I came across the competition, I came across the competition, America's Favorite Educator through Teach for America, which helped me get into 5th grade English, which I'm teaching up here in Newark, by providing me like financial assistance to relocate from Alabama to New Jersey, and also preparing me during the summer so that I can be successful in the classroom. So this competition is partnered with Teach for America. And basically, we're just raising money for Teach for America's mission, and also like hoping that I can be that special teacher that wins the $25,000, the trip to Hawaii, and also be on Reader's Digest, so that I can continue to like advocate for my hometown and just like closing the opportunity gap for all students across America. In my small way, just like by advocating and being in the classroom and learning more.
And where's the hometown again? You said you were coming from Alabama. Where in Alabama is the hometown?
Notasulga. So many people may not heard of it, but it's like 15 minutes away from Tuskegee, and then like 10 minutes away from, 30 minutes away from Auburn University, and 45 minutes away from Montgomery, Alabama area.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to say it again slowly, because I definitely missed that, and I know I'm familiar with some cities in Alabama, but not all of them.
Notasulga.
Notasulga.
Notasulga. Okay, I just learned a new city in Alabama. I feel a little bit richer in that is awesome. And what's the population of Notasulga? I hope I said that right.
The population is Lincoln,
It's a very small town with less than probably 800 people living there. And also like Zora Neale Hurston, she was born and raised in Notasulga, so that's something that I'm proud to share too about Notasulga, our small community.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay, go ahead, Drew. Talk to your player. Talk to Morgan.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your achievements that you have had thus far. Obviously, you know I followed your career and all my former players' careers as they've gone on. Those who decided to play ball at the next level and didn't play ball at the next level. So, in addition to being America's favorite teacher, she is also a graduate of an HBCU, that being Tougaloo College.
Yes.
So, first of all, talk about your experience at Tougaloo, playing basketball at Tougaloo. I believe you were one of the top offensive rebounders in the GCAC conference while you were at Tougaloo for your 4 years there. So just kind of talk about that experience, how you wound up getting to Tougaloo. Go through that whole story for everybody, please, even though I know.
Tougaloo had a really big impact in my journey to Tougaloo. I never heard of Coach Drew was located in Jackson, Mississippi. And Coach Drew took our team there during the tournament, and I was able to see some players play at Tougaloo College. And then maybe 6 months later in my senior year, in May, getting ready for graduation, Coach Drew told me about Tougaloo having a basketball tryout, and I was able to attend that basketball tryout and like other tryouts during that time. And something that stuck out to me about Tougaloo is like the community there, just the overall experience. I love Tougaloo. So when I made it to the campus, I tried out for the team, but as soon as I was getting ready to leave and get in my car, the coach, which is Coach Barnes, he's also the athletic director at Tougaloo, he offered me a scholarship on the spot. And that just really touched my heart because the other colleges, they were like getting back to me and whatnot, but Tougaloo made me feel wanted, and it just built my confidence. I was like, I love this college, and it's not so close to home. It's in Jackson, Mississippi. It's a 4-hour drive. I believe that this school is a school for me. So I always say like Tougaloo chose me, and that is what really made me fall in love with Tougaloo College. Feeling wanted.
All right. And talk about your basketball career there at Tougaloo.
My basketball career at Tougaloo, I was able to play 4 years at Tougaloo College, and I feel like that's a very big accomplishment because I noticed that some students or student athletes are at colleges, but they stay 2 years and they're transferring and going other places. But Tougaloo was my home for 4 years. My experience there as a freshman, the community there really, the students, the staff played a major role in my basketball journey. I was able to start a lot of games my freshman year, and then also COVID came. So like I got to see the transition with like the GCAC conference and Tougaloo during like the COVID time. So I was a part of that era. Also, like I grown so much through basketball, playing the sport. I mean, I was also a top rebounder, like Coach Drew shared. I was really good on defense. I can jump. So I feel like I'm rambling, but my experience at Tougaloo with basketball just overall helped me become the person I am today. Like when it comes to time management, waking up, being able to go to work on time, resilience, just playing the sport just overall helped me grow as a woman. So I'm grateful for Tougaloo and that opportunity with Coach Barnes and his staff.
What was and I know Drew. Okay, there you are, Drew. What was one of your biggest accomplishments, or maybe your fondest memory, or I'll go even further. Obviously we're a product of the people who teach us and coach us. Share with us maybe something that Coach Drew shared with you during your time with him that helped you while you were at Tougaloo.
Coach Drew actually, when we were talking about colleges and choices, I told me that Tougaloo was going to be a good fit for me. He told my mom, she was questioning. He was like, it's going to be a good for you. Just trust it. And throughout that time, they're just hearing him say like, trust the process. It's for you. That really just made me feel like so powerful and able to accomplish what was ahead of me at Tougaloo. I actually became senior class president while I was at Tougaloo. I was RA. Just so many things that I didn't see like myself becoming because I was like very shy and quiet. Just being able to, like Coach Drew said, trust the process. Go there, believe that this is a place that God put in place for you, and watch yourself flourish and trust that you have everything that you need to be successful there. And Tougaloo gave me the tools that I need to like really, I just come out of my shell and gain confidence through all the opportunities on campus. I even got a chance to run cross country. So basketball wasn't even my only sport there. And on the collegiate level, most students only played one sport. But I was able to like do cross country and basketball. So Tougaloo just opened so many opportunities and helped me I realized who I really was as a person and my purpose.
What was running cross country? Was that preseason conditioning, or was that like you really?
It was both. It was like being getting in shape for basketball, but then also I made top 10 my first year run, top 10 in the finals for GCAC. I was like number 9, but I didn't even expect to place. So that was just shocking. Just once again, trusting the process and believing you can do something.
Yeah, we've talked. Drew and I have talked about coaches using that. Basketball coaches using that cross country as a preseason conditioning tool, and God bless every cross country runner that I've seen. I mean, that's a just being able to finish a meet. I mean that takes that when you do that, you basically go into basketball telling yourself you can do anything. I mean,
yes.
if you can finish that cross country meet, I mean, you can go into the season do ability to do anything.
Definitely.
Yeah. Drew, you still there? You still moving? Where's he at?
Actually, I'm getting ready to switch on. I'm getting ready to come. Just made it into the home studio, so I'm gonna let you get the next set of questions, Brian, while I log in.
So coming back to America's favorite teacher, and appreciate everybody who's been voting.
Yes.
What and I that experience. What's that been like, seeing people, from all over the country voting for you? Let's talk a little bit about, I guess, and also share a little bit about, there's a nice, healthy, prizes and stuff that you win. But you mentioned there was a $25,000 cash prize there. What you have you even allowed yourself to think about, oh, what would I do with that?
Yes. I think about if I hit the lottery, what would I do every night? And so,
Amen. I'm right there with you. Right there with you.
well, for one, thank you to everyone who has been voting. Thank you, BCSN Network, for like sharing my link and getting those votes in, because like I've been battling for like top position 1, and I'm in position 2 right now. But my goal by Thursday is to hit the top 1 in my group. So thank you all for voting. I pray that you continue to vote and support. So the question about
what will you do?
what would I
Kind
do
of
with
what
the
you thought about? Yeah, have you thought about what you'll do with those funds?
So I always thought about like starting my own scholarship, because like during my time at Toulouse College, I ended up graduating debt free because so many people sponsored and poured into my education financially. And so my goal is to start my own scholarship fund for Notasulga High School, a community where we lack lots of resources, and there's a lot of first gen students there who want to go to college but don't know how they can financially. So my goal is to like start a scholarship where I can spend half of that money starting my scholarship fund, giving back to my community and back to Toulouse College, whether that's athletics or those RAs who may need funding for school, or just like book stipends. So starting a scholarship fund, and then I know I also want to attend grad school this upcoming August. So this upcoming fall, I want to be in grad school. So helping pay those fees, because I still want to graduate. I still want to do grad school debt free. That's gonna be hard, but this money could help me lower that cost.
Yes, indeed. Great goals to have. Great goals to have. Good to see you, Drew. Drew's checked in. Good to see you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, I'm still alive, everybody. I'm still alive. And it's great to see you again, Morgan. Always great to see you. Talk to you every now and then. My next question. Let's jump back on the HBCU front. Your former conference, the GCAC, is changing their name. So they're changing their name to the HBCU AC. What are your thoughts about the name change? And as a player from the GCAC, does it mean anything for your legacy, for your time playing in that conference? The fact that the conference will technically no longer exist because they're going to become a new conference. They still don't exactly know what they're doing with the records and everything else from you guys this time, but it will be a new conference beginning this fall.
It's an awesome move on Commissioner Dr. Kiki Barnes' behalf. I know I watched a video where she was talking about how they changed the tagline to where winners thrive. And I think that's just like perfect to describe like the GCAC and just seeing the growth. Because I came in 2019, which is when she took her position, and just seeing the growth through the years through COVID. And it was time for a rebrand. Even though I played under GCAC, I think just having HBCU like list name as the conference now lets people know like these are HBCU schools working as a collective, smaller HBCUs that don't usually get recognized. And so I think that the rebranding is like a great strategy to allow people to know what the GCAC conference is now. Like it's consists of HBCUs, but like actually having that in the title, I think brings more recognition to and respect to those who are wanting to to learn more about HBCUs, those smaller HBCUs.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is. I think it is a good branded opportunity there for the conference, and I hope that the conference will continue to grow. Did get a chance to talk to Dr. Barnes at the basketball tournament this year. I was at the basketball tournament, so yeah, definitely thought it was a good idea. So, you talked about Jackson, Mississippi. You grew up in Minnesota. Was it culture shock going from a town where everybody knew everybody and everybody knew your mama and your daddy and your cousins and your aunties and everything else to a medium-sized city such as Jackson? You know, kind of talk about that and how you were able just to make that adjustment and adapt.
It was really hard. Moving to Jackson, you know, I saw like it was more city life compared to what I have back home. We just have a Dollar General, and I graduated with like 17 students in my class, so like extremely small town. And so going to Jackson, it was a culture shock, but it was like a good one. It was like so many Black people, so many people who looked like me, and it felt like home. And I just was able to adapt maybe towards my sophomore year. My freshman year, it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard trying to maneuver, transition into a new city and being on a college campus, not having a car. And so I think not having a car forced me to make friends. And then basketball was the way I was able to really build relationships at Tougaloo College. And it was just like so many opportunities on campus from orientation. Everyone is still that Southern hospitality, that love was there. And so I was able to build relationships after I decided myself to get out and explore what was on campus. So just taking the initiative to get out and realize like there's a community there for me, just like it was one back at home.
Did you spend any time over on the other campus?
Jackson State. When I ended up pledging Sigma Gamma Rho, Sorority Incorporated, I was able to like branch out and visit Jackson State every once in a while.
Definitely. Go ahead, Brian. You're muted, Brian.
I can't hear.
Brian, you're muted.
Oh yeah, I'm on mute. Sorry. No, I was saying Emmett posted, I think New Jersey would be different culturally as well. How's life been transitioning to New York, New Jersey life?
I know she posted a lot of pictures from New York on her Facebook page. I think she's starting to love New York.
I am, but I'm coming back home. So I really love Jersey, and I feel like Jackson prepared me for Newark, New Jersey. So the transition of being away from home, 4 hours away from home, and then like now able to come home during the holidays when I was in college because of basketball prepared me for my transition to New Jersey. The weather here was something that I wasn't prepared for, but just like living on my own, being more independent, that was something that I learned during my college experience that came a little bit more natural. It was like a little bit more settling, but the weather, that's something that I haven't got used to. Like right now it's still chilly outside, and then it's springtime back at home.
I think that's the line of the day. Jackson getting you ready for Newark, New Jersey. That right there is the line of the night right there. Oh, that's a new T-shirt. I mean, a new T-shirt.
It did.
Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so
oh my
God. Morgan, tell us? Okay, so you mentioned that the voting goes on through Thursday, or where are we at in the process? And what's the next voting? You know, appreciate everybody voting. Go ahead and check that link and vote. There it is. Those of you who are on Instagram or watching on X, real easy. You know, you can see it right there. Americans Fave teacher.org/2024/Morgan-Hunter. So Morgan, tell us, how does the process, where are we at? I mean, you mentioned Thursday. Give the people the steps on what they need to do that we get you back into that one spot.
Awesome. So right now, we're getting ready to make cuts for group finals, which is Thursday. So the group finals is going to take the first person out of each group, and they'll move on to the group finals. So if I don't make the cuts on Thursday, I won't be able to make it to the group finals, but I may be able to hit the wild card for having the top 2 position. And so every Thursday, the votes reset. And voting daily or voting daily allows me to stay in my position or gain lead. So gain lead for number one. And then also if you donate, your votes are worth like 2 times more than someone else who was just voting free daily. So the donations allow Teach for America to raise money, but also for me to get a boost upon ahead of the person who's in first place. So basically voting every Thursday, voting every day until Thursday will get me to the group finals. Because right now the competition is narrowing down. So if I get to the group finals and make it to number one in my group, I'm able to advance to the group finals. And after that, it's just another cut until the next Thursday and the votes reset.
So we got to do this for how many more weeks before we win this? We know we got to get you past this Thursday to get you to the next cut. So how many more weeks do we need to keep talking about you?
3 more weeks.
3 more weeks, y'all.
3 more weeks. It's a long competition, but it's a lot of teachers involved. It started off with 20,000 teachers, and now we're down to about 6,000. So we're fighting. We're getting there.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
The fact that you have, I hate to say this, the fact that you have 20,000 people who actually still want to teach, given this environment, because we are losing teachers left and right. I'm impressed by that number right there. The heck with how we're doing with the competition. The fact that we have 20,000 new teachers that are trying to get into this field is impressive to me.
I appreciate you, Edwin Moore, for jumping in, and I cast my vote too while you were talking.
Thank you for your vote. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I put my vote in. It's real easy to do too. That's what I like about the platform. It's especially if you have a Facebook page, you get in and you can make your vote, and then if you got a little extra change in your pocket and you can donate
coffee money.
A little coffee money, or instead of going out to eat at Chipotle or Burger King or wherever y'all gonna eat for lunch on Monday, drop $10 in the bucket there, and you get 10 more votes. So appreciate it. Karen Griffin also just voted.
Thank you so much for the votes.
Yeah,
and the support. Thank you.
Yeah. We love our community, and so that's what it takes. And so it's really cool to kind of hear your growth of where you come from, a very small high school to a bigger school for you, but still a little smaller community, and now you're on the bigger, better things. So it's an awesome story and an awesome ride. So
any coaching in your future, Morgan?
I hope so. Yes, I hope so. I want to keep my options open, but coaching is definitely something that I think about, and hopefully becoming like in those leadership roles, maybe athletic director. So definitely climbing the steps and coaching and athletic director, something I'm open to for sure.
See, this was the plan, Bryan. When she left to go to Tougaloo, we had devised this plan that we would hold on to our jobs for about 4 to 5 years and then let her come back and captain the ship. But unfortunately, both of us left during that time. Well, actually, truth be told, I left right as Morgan was graduating.
Yes.
And then Coach Williams left a year later. So that plan went to crap, but we still hope that she winds up coming back to Notasulga and piloting the ship. And last thing on Notasulga, that school, despite it being so small, has a legacy of female basketball players that have gone on to do tremendous things, going all the way back into the 80s. Every 3-4 years, we wind up getting that unicorn at that high school, and there are a lot of players who have gone on and had not only good collegiate careers, but have made themselves into good professionals. And Morgan was just the latest of them. I just had the privilege of coaching her for those 4 years. I coached against her when she was in middle school, but I wound up coaching her in high school.
Yes. Thank you, Coach Drew, for all you have done.
No, thank you for actually listening and going and taking the good stuff that I said and doing something and ignoring all the garbage that I throw out there sometimes.
Yes.
Morgan, before you go, you got to give us one good Drew story, Coach Drew story.
Oh boy, here we go.
You said it can be as whatever you want, whatever comes to mind. You don't have to. Don't think too long. Just
so many stories to share. But I just want to talk about some of the many hats Coach Drew played. He was actually like a father. While being like a full-time father for actually a student athlete, he also like drove the buses at our school and actually drove a van. One time we had a basketball tournament in Selma, and Coach Drew had this van from Tuskegee Parks and Rec, and it was a little bit raggedy and barely making it. But he drove the van, whether it broke down or whatever. He knew how to fix it. He was like a mechanic. He got us where we needed to go. He just wore so many hats, and some of the work he did was some people didn't even notice some of the things that you did, taking care of players, spending money on them. You just put so much love into like what you do, even now, and I'm just so grateful for that.
I'm really touched to actually know that that I made an impact, because a lot of Bryan, as you being the coach, we do things out of genuine love for our players and wanting to give back, and most of the stuff that we do goes unnoticed, unappreciated. But when you hear players 10, 25 years later, whatever, to say, I remember when you did A, B, and C, it really does. It really does touch you. Yeah.
So which one?
I'm looking at Edwin's comment.
I saw that. I was going to post that up there. Edwin said, "Did you throw paper and tomatoes at Drew?"
Honestly,
that was only after we beat people so bad. Sometimes we had to rush up out of town, and it was fun doing that. I gotta tell you this: the last game that I ever coached with Morgan was my last high school game that I ever coached. It did not go so good, and I still am mad that the referees did not see that ball hit the doggone hit the basketball support that cost us that game. So that the game that I tell you about, Bryan, she was in that game with me. So,
and see and that's why Drew ended up becoming an official. Drew was like, I can't do this coaching thing anymore. I'm just going to be an official from here on out. And there we go.
And moved on to become a college administrator after that. So it's all good.
There you go. So again, Morgan, thank you for coming on the show. Congratulations on all your successes, and we are voting to continue pushing you forward. So I know between the various shows that we have on the Black College Sports Network, it's been kind of cool having that relationship there and watching this go. So you went from 20 down to 6,000, and so we hope that you make the next cut. And everybody who's in the chat, if you're watching on Instagram Live or if you're watching on X, that link right there, americasfaveteacher.org/2024/Morgan-Hunter, and make your vote. And you can vote every day. So one time a day you can vote, and we'll share some. Thursday we'll know the results, but that gives us today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That gives us 4 days to kind of get our votes in. So,
but Bryan, I need people not only to vote themselves, and I want them to continue voting, but just as important, I need y'all to share that with a friend, especially everybody on here probably knows somebody in the educational field. Share it with them and let them share it with somebody, because people in education understand the struggle that she's going through, and that I hope is the key to getting Morgan over the top and getting that gift and starting the Morgan Hunter Scholarship Fund at Notasulga High School.
Thank you all so much for your votes and for your support, and thank you, Bryan and Coach Drew, Mr. Bryan and Coach Drew, for having me today.
And she even gave you your respect, Bryan. Look at that.
She's a winner in my book. So I mean, thank you, Morgan.
Hey, her parents did a good job. Tell your mother and your father I said hello when you see you and your sister.
They're watching, and they're
hey, Mom and Dad. How you doing, Mom and Dad? There you go.
Yes.
All right. Any other shout outs you want to give, Morgan, while you got it before we go? Any last shout outs you want to give to anybody? Say hello to anybody.
Thank everyone who joined, who I sent the link to, and I see some Tougaloo alumni or people who know just some alumni at Tougaloo. So just awesome to be here, and thank you guys again for having me.
All right, take care, Morgan. Be well. All right,
you too. Bye bye.
Thanks, Morgan.
Oh, good stuff, Drew.
Bryan, let's go to break so I can go wipe my eyes.
I know. All right, we'll take a quick break here so Drew can collect himself. We'll be back on the other side to wrap up the show. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU Sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Bryan and A.D., both of us in our home studios now.
Yes, Edwin, I did want to throw that chair and do a Bobby Knight in that game, but I did maintain my cool. Now the other coach, he didn't maintain it so well.
Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, it's more than one coach on the bench, so.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's hold on here. I'm looking at something. Okay. As we get ready to wind down, let me say a quick thanks to Jimmy Hall. Jimmy Hall, appreciate you for joining and being a part of the MyJBN BCSN membership there on YouTube. Appreciate your support of the Black College Sports Network. Any and everybody, there is an opportunity. Say hello to all of our members, but yes, you too can join, be a part of youtube.com, MyJBN online/join the Black College Sports Network's YouTube page. It's just your way to support, everything we do here, as we're looking to do some different things here. We've got some plans over the summer. We're working on some things. We're going to have some exclusive content opportunities, but just in general, what you are doing by joining our YouTube channel is supporting HBCU sports media. And so we really appreciate it. Not only just our show, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, the O&G Strike Zone on Wednesdays, the Carlos Brown Show on Saturday, podcasts like the Brave Talk with Charles Edmonds. A lot of times we'll get some of his conversations with various coaches at Alcorn State. And we are looking to build. We are looking to grow the network. So some other shows and some other content that we're going to be coming out with here pretty soon. You can be a part of all that by joining our YouTube channel. So we say thank you. Thank you, Jimmy Hall. Thank you to all of our members, everybody who has been a supporter of our channel and what we've done. Okay. Let's see. Okay. One of the news stories, we talked about how busy it was over the weekend, was the news that Cheney State College, the 1982 Cheney State women's basketball team,
What's the good thing about that team?
Finally, they were inducted into the Women's College Basketball Hall of Fame Saturday night. And what is significant about that team, these ladies and this coach, that they played in the national championship game against Louisiana Tech, and a Louisiana Tech team that had a little spunky guard with blonde hair that went on to become this NCAA championship coach.
Would that be one Kim Mulkey?
That might be Kim Mulkey. It was.
And with that coach that I see to my right, would that be C. Vivian Stringer?
It is the Hall of Famer herself, C. Vivian Stringer, that was coaching Cheney State at the time. And I believe if my history serves correct, 82 was the first year of what would become the national tournament, the NCAA tournament.
Yes, I believe it's the 81-82 season.
Yeah, the 81-82 season was the first year. And so surprised were people about them making it to the Final Fours that they didn't even get a spot on the T-shirt, Drew. There you can see the infamous T-shirt recognizing the final. Back then they called it the finalist. And notice there was only 3 caricatures drawn. There was one missing of anybody from Cheney State. So yeah, that game was played in Norfolk, Virginia at the Norfolk Scope.
Yeah. And I was too young. I was too young to know the significance of that when that occurred. Because that would have made me 10 years old at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you can see the ladies, part of their induction ceremony yesterday. 42 years. I don't, I look, we can debate and question and wonder why it took 42 years, but better late than never.
And this is a good question. I don't know when they introduced the women's basketball.
The women's size ball?
Yes, the women's size ball. Because I know the AW, whatever it was called, the association, prior to it becoming going to the NCAA. I know they played with the men's ball all through that era.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question.
Let's see. Let me see what the Google machine said.
I want to give a great follow and someone that I have sort of watched his crusade to make sure that these ladies get recognized. And I want to make sure I can find my Twitter handle. I don't want to get him confused with somebody else. See how quickly I can pull it up here. But I have been paying attention to this. Come on here. How quickly can I pull this up? Kyle Adams, Dr. Kyle Adams, who actually is currently, I thought he was coaching. I'm not quite sure where. I know he has been very active. I think he even wrote a book about this team, and we may have to get Dr. Adams on. I know he follows the show, but he has been a very big advocate for this team and program. And so But I just know through following his efforts, there's been a couple of different documentaries, Sports Illustrated, SI. Over the last 2 years, there's really been a sort of a recognition, so to speak, of these ladies and the opportunities that are sort of been passed by, I guess is a better way, is one way of saying it. So congratulations to the 1982 Cheney State women's basketball team on your induction into the Women's College Basketball Hall of Fame. What'd you find out, Drew, in terms of?
It was developed in the early 80s, and yes, those Cheney State women's teams actually played with the men's basketball. They experimented with it in 1984, and then the 84-85 season was the first year that it became that I believe that they used it in NCAA. I'm gonna put this link in the chat. Baden is a person the organization that developed the women's size basketball. Interesting read right here. So it's I just put that in the chat for anybody who wants to read a little bit further on the history of the women's size basketball. That was a good question.
All right. Couple of coaching nuggets here. Of course, I think on the same day that we learned that Tamika Reed was leaving Jackson State to go to Charlotte, UAPB named Erica Leak as their new head women's basketball coach, taking over for Dawn Thornton, who.
And how long did that take?
Alabama A&M.
How long did that take? About a week?
It moved faster than anything FAMU has done over the past.
It moved faster than anything most of our HBCUs have
done. Reading right here from UAPBLionsRoar.com. The Vice Chancellor of Intercollegiate Athletics, Chris Robinson, announced Thursday that Erica Leak was named the new head women's basketball coach. She was a 2005 WNBA draftee that will begin her era with the Golden Lions women's basketball program as the 10th head coach. Leak was drafted in 2005 to the WNBA. And most recently, her time, she was coaching at West Memphis High School. Hold on, let me make sure I read this right. Prior to joining Golden Lions women's basketball team, Leak led West Memphis High Blue Devils program to the state finals for the first time since 2003, earning the title of Arkansas High School Coach of the Year in 2023. She spent 4 years as the head coach of the 5A East Powerhouse program. During her time, Leak's team, they were a 4-time state qualifier, a 5A state runner-up, went to the state 5A finals for the first time in 20 years. She is a native of Arkansas. Let's see. She's a 2005 graduate of Louisiana Tech, where she was a 4-time Western Athletic Conference champ. She was a freshman of the year, went to the NCAA tournament all 4 years. She was selected 19th in the 05 draft to the Washington Mystics. So here's a young lady that comes in with a little background at the highest level, and even been successful there in the Arkansas area.
Definitely should help with recruiting.
Yeah. Edwin, you're funny. She definitely is, Edwin. Yes, she is. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but that wasn't the only coach that was hired last week, Brian.
No, it wasn't. I saw Karen even drop that in there as well. Maryland Eastern Shore has a new coach as well, women's basketball coach. Her name is Malika Willis. Malika Willis is the new head coach at Maryland Eastern Shore. Willis comes to UMES with over 23 years of collegiate coaching experience with stints at Kennesaw State, Mississippi State, Eastern Michigan, Texas Tech, College of Charleston, Georgia Tech, West Virginia, Norfolk State, Elizabeth City State, Cheney, Chicago State, Illinois, Chicago. All during her career, she's served in various roles, including the lead recruiting position at a majority of those schools. So she comes in with a very healthy resume. I think this might be her first head coaching position after 20-something years as an assistant. She is a graduate, a four-year letter winner from Iowa, where she helped the Hawkeyes to a pair of Big Ten titles in 95 and 96. She played 2 seasons professionally overseas in Poland and Finland prior to getting into coaching. Yes, Emmett, she definitely has covered some ground in her coaching career. Last year, Maryland Eastern Shore was a 15-15 ball club, finished 8-6 in the MEAC. So good opportunity for Coach Willis to kind of come in and challenge. But she's definitely, when you've been to that many programs, Drew, you definitely get a sense of what works, doesn't work, and things like that.
Yeah. Also had some players coming out of the portal going to some HBCUs, Brian.
Oh, we do?
We did. We had one player who started at an HBCU, went to a non-HBCU, and has come back to a different HBCU.
Who are we talking about?
In women's basketball.
Who are we talking about?
Her dad has a famous last name.
I don't have a graphic for this one, so we're playing Stump B right now. You got me. Who are we talking about? I think you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It took me a second to figure out. Yeah. Chalamet Sanders. Is that who you're talking about?
That would be exactly who I'm talking about.
Right. Leaving Colorado and officially signing with Alabama A&M. And all I will say is, if you haven't watched, or if you're unfamiliar with Pilar Sanders' YouTube page, go check it out. There is a great 7 or 8 minute video that sort of breaks down why she transferred and some other things. So let's just say after watching that video, I was like, you go Chalamet and you go Pilar. I'm like, go ahead, so that's all I'm gonna say. I at first I had Drew, I had to catch myself. Sometimes you get sucked in with X, and you want to be snarky sometimes. And I know Jackson State folks think at times I can be a little petty, which I can, and I can be a little snarky, which I can. But I was almost about to be snarky when I saw that she was transferring to Alabama A&M. And then I discovered that YouTube broadcast, and I think I even tweeted this out. I'm so glad I watched it, because it gave me a different perspective. I almost went down the path of being snarky and petty, but you know what? After watching it, I came away saying, you know what? Good for Chalamet. And good for her. And good for Pilar for being a mom. And so, you know, we often, all we talk about and hear about is dad and all the things that dad is doing. And, you know, sometimes the kids can get lost. And so I think at Alabama A&M, she will have, I'm still not used to calling it normal. I never will. I'm learning that. What's not normal is me calling Alabama A&M normal Alabama. It's just going to be Huntsville, but whatever. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Halftime. I don't know how we're down 3 at halftime with no. I don't know how we're down 3. We're down 3 at the half. No Dame Lillard. No Bobby Portis. And so somebody I don't know, there's a little confrontation here. I'm trying to see who the Bucks have that are instigators. Oh yeah, Pat Beverly and what's the other guy? Jay Crowder. Two instigators. Yeah.
There you go, Brian.
Well, no, I can't argue too much there, Demetri. We are an offensive machine though, but even though, you know,
defense is optional sometimes.
We're still learning. Offense was optional that game the other night though, man. That game was brutal to kind of sit through and watch. Middleton is still on the floor. I forgot. That's who's still on Middleton is still out there. So I guess that's who's still out there doing things for them. Okay, a couple of other quick HBCU related notes. I saw in the MEAC, South Carolina State won the men and women's tennis championships. I know in the SIAC, I think that's in combination with Alabama State men and women winning the SWAC, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Sweeps both conferences.
Yeah. The SIAC.
You said SIAC, they just had their track meet, the conference track meet this past weekend. Because I was at that a couple of days.
Yep. Albany State won the women's. Benedict won the men. So congratulations to those two programs. The GCAC baseball tournament just completed.
And the championship game was not a pretty sight.
No, it was not. If you were, unless you're a Talladega fan, Talladega with a 25-2.
A whole keg of whoop.
Yeah, that's right. I said, I'm not giving you a football score. It's a baseball score. 25-2
over Wiley.
Over the 1 seed, Wiley College. We were talking a little bit about Wiley had lost a game in the semifinals of the winners bracket, and so they actually lost that game to
Rust.
I think that game was like 21-11 or something. And so that dropped them into the losers bracket. They did get a rematch against Rust and ended up beating them to advance to the championship game. But there would be no if game. Talladega goes unbeaten in the GCAC.
Could you imagine if there was an if game, what the score would look like?
First team to 15.
Play like the 5th set of volleyball.
Yeah. What's the Black College Nines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, hold on. Let's take a look at the latest Black College Nines.
Yeah, I voted, but I didn't look at the rankings when they came out.
So these came out
actually
April
hold up
21st.
I want to hit Emmett. I think Wiley with that loss ran out of pitching. Emmett said Wiley must have left their pitchers on campus. Wiley wound up, because of the loss, wound up playing 2 extra games in that tournament. So it was nothing nice. You probably didn't even have 2 ways pitching today. You probably just had, you got anything in your arm? Okay. Can you give me some strikes? He gave him some strikes, all right, and they were sent right back at him. Anyway.
Okay, these are obviously the new Black College 9 rankings will come out next week, but from earlier in the week, the rankings going into this weekend, here's what you had. You had in the small school poll, not much of a change from the previous week. If I look at it, actually nobody moved from one week to the next. So you had Xavier at 10, Miles at 9, Wiley was ranked 8th, Florida Memorial was 7th, Bluefield State College was 6th, Edward Waters University was 5th, Savannah State 4th, West Virginia State was 3, Talladega was 2, Albany State 1. And so no movement there, and I don't think there'll be any movement again. There was a little bit of no, I guess there wasn't. I thought there was a little shakeup in the men's. Yeah, there was. There had to be, wasn't there, Drew? Because I think 2 weeks ago when we did this, Florida A&M was 1. We talked about this. Well, there might be some more shakeups. But anyway, here's the top 10 on the large school rankings according to blackcollege9s.com. Number 10 was Southern. 9, Grambling State. 8, Delaware State. 7 was Prairie View. 6, Jackson State. 5, Alabama State. 4 was Texas Southern. 3 was Florida A&M. 2, North Carolina A&T. And 1, Bethune. Now, I'm going to tell you, Drew, I think there's some changes that might be happening in this poll. Because this past weekend, Florida, well, I'll start with the West. Texas Southern and Grambling had a series going on. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Texas Southern and Grambling were playing. Texas Southern came into the series with an 11-game SWAC winning streak. They actually won game 1 to push it to 12 consecutive games, but then they lost game 2. They lost game 2 to Grambling. Grambling moved within a game first. I'm still waiting on the standings and the schedule to load up here on my computer. Page is unresponsive. Isn't that the worst?
Southern, consistently inconsistent.
All right, here we go. From Sunday scores. Ooh, they finished that Florida A&M Jackson State game. Ooh.
They finally finished it.
Oh, yeah. I will get to that in a second. Grambling takes 2 out of 3 from Texas Southern. Grambling finishes with a 7-6 win over Texas Southern. What does that do to the standings now? The standings in the West. Ooh, Texas Southern has a half a game lead over Grambling in the West. Texas Southern is sitting at 15-5, Grambling at 15-6 by courtesy of winning 2 games in a row. So look at Grambling State. In terms of the top 4 from the West getting into the tournament, I think, I think Southern is safe. Prairie View is 3, Southern's 4. Grambling State and Texas Southern look like they're going to battle it out. Although, don't sleep, Prairie View A&M is not that far behind. They're only 2.5 games behind Texas Southern. So it looks like there might be a game that's missing there. Like Texas Southern may have to make up a game sometime over the next few weeks. Over on the east side, Florida A&M takes 2 out of 3 at Jackson State. They close it out today with a 12-0, a shutout over Jackson State. 12-0. Nathan, zilch, 0. Donut. 12-0 over Jackson State. FAMU takes 2 out of 3 over Jackson State. What's even helpful is that Alabama A&M, who look, Alabama A&M was towards the bottom half of that East Division. Alabama A&M took 2 out of 3 against Bethune-Cookman. They lost game 1, Drew, 20-3. Then came back and won, let's see, 6-1 on Saturday and 7-6 today. So what that did is that gave FAMU a little more cushion in the East. FAMU sitting at 17-4 with a 2-game lead over Bethune-Cookman at 15-6. So what do you think might happen to those rankings, Drew, when the number 1 team loses 2 out of 3 to a team that is in 5th place in the East? Think they might lose that spot?
I would hope that the Black College 9 voters would make that adjustment. I know, well, I don't need to make an adjustment on my ballot because I already had that the team on the beach behind the team on the highest of 7 hills.
What did A&T do this weekend? Who was A&T playing? Hold on, let me see if they've got those stats. That one might give us, let's see. I know they've got the schedule here. A&T was playing Hofstra University, that exciting team from the CAA. No shade there. I know there's some Aggies in the building. What did the Aggies do? Aggie fight? Let's see. NCATaggies.com. We'll go quickly to the website while we're doing our spring sports wrap up here. Blah blah blah. Baseball schedule. Let's see what A&T did against Hofstra. Not good, Drew. Aggies have lost 4 in a row, so I'm going to assume here as I scroll down, I think they got swept this weekend.
If they lost 1 in a row, that would mean a sweep in there somewhere.
Yeah, it would, wouldn't
it?
Yeah. Waiting on the page to load up. Doesn't want to do it. You know, these websites, man, they move at their own pace. Yeah, 3-game sweep. They went up to Hempstead, New York, came back with nothing. Losing today 10-4, lost yesterday 14-4, and lost on Friday 5-3. So if I were a Black College 9s voter,
let's see, 2 out of 3. Yeah, 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3, and 0 out of 3.
Yeah, let's see. Bethune lost 2 out of 3. North Carolina A&T lost 3 of 3. Texas Southern lost 2 out of 3. The number 3 team, Florida A&M, did not lose. They won 2 of 3 on the road. Might be your number 1 team going into next week. Just saying. But you know, that's up for the voters to decide. Yeah. The softball regular season ended in the SWAC. I think we can officially look at the standings and figure out who the winners of the East and West are. On the West side, Prairie View A&M went 23-1.
No shocker.
No shocker. 7. Now they haven't played. Now I wonder, like, this is the thing, like, and this is an old statement because we've said it on multiple shows before.
Crossover.
There's got to be some crossover during the regular season, Drew. It's got to be.
And it's a lot easier for softball.
You got to find a way to make that happen.
It's a lot easier for softball than baseball.
Yeah, Dave just dropped in. A&T eliminated from playoff contention in the CAA. Yeah, so tough break for North Carolina A&T.
And they got off to such a hot start.
They did. But back to softball. Prairie View 23-1. Winners of the West. Texas Southern finished second in the West. Southern third. UAPB. Now, UAPB is in fourth, but there is a 2-game difference. They have 2 fewer games played than Grambling. So I don't know if they're going to make UAPB play those 2 games, or at least one of those 2 games. We'll see. But, yeah, Prairie View 23-1. They've been beating up on the West. I would love to see Prairie View outside of the conference tournament. I would like to see what they do against some of the teams in the East. And I guess that's going to happen, but it needs to happen during the regular season, in my personal opinion.
Hey, Bryan, before we slip over to the East, Dr. Gavir just gave us a warning.
Ooh. Yikes.
Just think about it. A&T's been number 1. Bethune's been number 1. FAM was number 1 at one point in time.
FAM was number 1. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And every time they've been ranked number 1, they've gone on a losing streak.
Damn it, man. And we host Bethune-Cookman this weekend. I don't think I want to be number 1. Damn, that's a big series coming up.
Has Grambling had the number 1 spot this year?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I know they've been up there. Yeah. Texas Southern. Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for that, Doc. I'm a little less enthusiastic now about the Bethune FAMU series, although it's a big series regardless. Okay. Over in the East, softball standings in the East. The East Division winners, the Florida A&M Rattlers, finishing 19-5, 23-18 overall. The Lady Rattlers did not drop a series all season. So congratulations to Coach Patterson and the ladies. We'll talk to them. I'm hoping we'll check on Wednesday's show. I'm sure we'll have Coach P on and maybe even a couple of ladies. They had a young lady, Lauren Peppers, threw a no-hitter on Thursday, a 5-inning no-hitter, 10 strikeouts. First time a pitcher at FAMU has thrown a no-hitter since 2014.
Hey, Bryan, hasn't FAMU pretty much had a player of the week just about every week of the softball season? It will be either pitcher or hitter. It seems like it.
Seems like it. There was a week last week.
It may not have been, but it seems like
last week they didn't. Last week they didn't. I think they got tired of voting for FAMU, but they didn't last week. They didn't last week, and
FAMU fatigue.
Yeah, it'll be hard to deny it this week, though.
At least the pitcher. Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see if Peppers can get pitcher of the week. Anyway, in second is Bethune-Cookman. Third is Jackson State. Fourth is Alabama State.
I wonder if baseball's going to come in that same order.
It could. For the East, it definitely could.
Yeah,
it definitely could.
That's about what the standards are right now for baseball, if I remember correctly.
It's not too far. Maybe the same. I don't know if it's the same order, but you got the same 4 teams in the top 4.
No, but I think it is Jackson State in 4th. Jackson State's in 4th in softball, and Alabama State is 3rd.
Yeah, you might be on to something.
It just hit me when you said it. I think those standards are exactly the same as far as the place goes.
Mm-hmm. So coming up this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you have the SWAC Outdoor Championships for track and field taking place in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at A.W. Mumford Stadium. That's on the campus of Southern University. So that newly redone track will get its usage this weekend. It'll be time for the SWAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. Hopefully, they will get a chance to have it streamed, unlike some other conferences who will not be named, who did not have.
Stop.
I'm sorry?
Stop. Just stop. I'm going to cut you off. Cut you off.
You can do what you want. You can mute me if you want. I was just going to say that the SWAC is, hopefully they will stream their. They did a great job last year. I saw what you did. Stop. It's all good. Mo Carter did I had to reach out to Mo and find out whether Mo will be on I know he did a great job on the indoor coverage for the SWAC Digital Network. It does say live on the SWAC Digital Network. So I don't know if that's just day 3 or all the days, but kudos to the SWAC for broadcasting their track and field championships. Okay, and then after that, on Tuesday, May 7th, you have the SWAC softball championships happening in Gulfport, Mississippi. Yay, the CAA streams their game. Yes, congratulations to the CAA. I'm just gonna give applause, Drew. I'm just gonna give applause instead of I'm just gonna give applause. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all I'm gonna do. You trying to get me in trouble. I'm just gonna
I'm trying to keep you from getting in trouble.
That's why I'm just gonna give
applause. That's why I got my hand on the bleep button.
Oh, good. That's where it needs to be. Okay. Any other final notes you want to throw out there, Drew?
No, man. It's we've had a great show. It's time for us to pick up this show and get out of here. Just wanted to go ahead.
No, I'll let you finish.
I was gonna say I just want to thank Morgan for coming on, talking about her venture with America's Favorite Teacher. Don't forget to vote and share that as you share this podcast with your friends and your colleagues. So, and just want to thank her for the kind words that she said to me that really touched me. And no, that was not scripted, everybody, between Morgan and I.
Well, I will say one final piece of news as we wrap up the show. A little happy retirement to CP, Candace Parker, one of my favorite women's basketball players to watch. So beautiful, so talented. Team update from the Las Vegas Aces after 16 seasons, which saw her win 3 WNBA championships, 2 MVP awards, and a pair of Olympic gold medals. Candace Parker has announced her retirement. The Las Vegas Aces family is thankful for the role Candace played in their 2023 WNBA championship season. And what does the rest of that say? And for giving all of us the opportunity to watch one of the GOATs of the game over the past 2 decades. And what a heck of a run there, from watching her step foot onto the campus of Tennessee for Coach Pat and winning a national title there to everything else she's accomplished. What a beautiful woman Candace Parker is. And so there's a great broadcaster now and all that goes with it. So can you name the 3 teams that she won a WNBA title with, Drew?
I know the Sky.
Yep.
And the Aces. Sparks.
Yeah. The first one was the Sparks.
Okay.
That's the first one. And then she went to the Sky, and then she went over to the Las Vegas Aces. So yep, Candace Parker hanging up the it's passing the torch on. It's letting the next generation have it. So good stuff. Congratulations to Candace Parker. And we will miss watching you on the court. So hopefully there's some bigger and better things in the post-basketball career for her. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this show. Yeah, I agree with you, Edwin, 100%.
No, that was not Blue Jacket. That was not an onion. That was real.
All right. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and watching, whether you watch us on Instagram Live or you watch this on Twitter. You can go and share the show, but more importantly, come back and find us. Make sure to subscribe to the BCSN on Facebook, on X, on Twitter, at MyBCSN1. You can also make sure you're part of the BCSN SportsWrap Facebook page. Apparently our BCSN Facebook page was down, but you should also be a part of our SportsWrap page, and then you could have joined us. And I'm assuming that's where Chuck Hunt is watching us. So we appreciate you, Chuck. And for everybody else watching us on our YouTube channels, we thank you very much. You can always donate to the show. You can always join the JBN YouTube channel. All great ways to support. Your appreciation is welcomed. And again, one final time, there's the link for America's Fave Teacher, Morgan Hunter. America's Fave Teacher.org/2024/Morgan-Hunter. And you got to vote every day. Thursday is when the announcement of the next round. So she's one of 6,000. So hopefully we can get her to the next round. All right, that's going to do it for tonight. My Pacers look like they're well on the way to winning this game. I cannot get any good action on this game at this point. It's long gone.
Leave it alone.
I'm going to leave it alone. I'm just going to sit back and watch us destroy the Bucks and get ready to close out the series in Milwaukee. So enjoy the rest of the playoffs if you're watching it. Thank you to everybody for your contributions to tonight's show. Again, thank Morgan Hunter for coming on. Thank all of you in the chat rooms for watching and sharing the show. Hit the thumbs up and the like button as you're out the door. For A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Thank you for watching tonight. Peace out. God bless. Have a great
light,
week.
everybody.
Peace out.
But you stay hard.